Today I want to talk about how you can make your issue solving track, how we solve issues together, much more powerful. And I've got 4 tips for you. The 4 tips are as follows. The first one is IDS is a process. It's not just an acronym. It's not for you to sit back and say, okay, we're going to identify, discuss, and solve the issue and kind of chair that part of it. You need someone who's a facilitator. And I recommend to my clients, if that person is standing up and at a board, that person is more effective. That person needs to drive the process, be proactive, cut people off who go off on tangents, bring the conversation back. So that's the part of it, very proactive. It's a process. We want to get through it as fast as possible. This is not a place to have conversations and build relationships. This is a place to solve problems. That's the first one. The second thing is, we call it who, one sentence. So first of all, who's bringing this issue to the table? Whose issue is it? That's the first one. We need to have that, write that on the board. Then, who's involved? Who can solve it? We need to identify that, because if people outside of this room are involved, maybe we should come up with a plan to address it to those people to make a proposal. Or if 2 people in the room can solve it, why is this an issue for the whole team? Shouldn't that be done for those 2 people separately, or maybe even 3 people? They can do that easily. They don't have to involve the whole leadership team. So that really makes a difference if we know that. And then we turn to the person whose issue it is and we say, okay, what do you need in 1 sentence? This forces the people who bring the issues to the table to think about the issue before the time. It helps us to identify the root. It identifies what is needed. And I've seen 3 different scenarios happen there. First of all, it may be a case of the person says, I've got feedback. I need to tell you about this thing and give you feedback on it. Then we understand what it is. The facilitator says, how much time do you need? The person says 5 minutes. And for 5 minutes, that person gives feedback to the whole group. It doesn't open up the discussion. It's simply feedback. If there are issues identified out of this, anyone can then put another issue on the issues list. But we do not go into discussion on it, because that person only needed to give us feedback at this stage. That's the priority. After the 5 minutes are done, the facilitator looks to the person and says, did you get what you needed? Did you get to do what you needed? And the issue is done. That's the first scenario. The second scenario may be the person says, I need information on this. I need input from the leadership team. And I need 10 minutes to get that input. And now we also understand that. Again, it's more of a communication thing. It's not an issue solving thing. It's more of just coming with information, and the person's got their 10 minutes, and after the 10 minutes the issue is solved. We do not go into adjacent issues. If anything else is identified in giving the feedback or getting the input from the people, that is listed on the issues list. That's the second scenario. The third scenario, and that is where we normally go and most easily go, is IDS. There's something that the person needs that they're stuck with, or they don't know what to do next. And we have to put our thoughts together, and we have to identify and discuss and solve the issue together. And then we go into the fully fledged IDS system. But again, the facilitator drives the process, and this one may take longer, and contains the issue to the issue on the table. So that once we do the IDS, you can turn to the person who brought it to the table and say, did you get what you need? Again, if some of the discussion leads to additional issues, those are identified and listed. They're not discussed immediately. Because if we just keep discussing and discussing further away from what the original person needed, every issue can just keep growing and growing and growing, and they can keep coming back and back and back, because we're not containing the issue to what it was. So that 1 sentence is really important in containing it. The third thing is, it says here, write on the board. It's really important for the facilitator to write on the board the keywords as we make progress, and whose issue it is, and what that person needs in one sentence. So if anyone goes off on a tangent, you can simply point to the board and say, that's what we need. We're going off on a tangent now. And it brings people back. And if they see it in front of them, it's much easier for them to stay there. That's the last one. And then we have to assign what we need to happen, AWE. We have to assign who's doing what. We want to know when it needs to be done and what the expectation looks like. That's the AWE at the end. On the to-do, out of the issues or whatever is next, we have to assign it, who's going to do this, when is it due, and what is the expectation for that to be positive. And out of that, the to-dos follow. So I hope that's helpful. 4 powerful tools or steps or tips that'll help you make your IDS more powerful. Remember, it's a process, not an acronym, that needs to be driven by a facilitator. Secondly, use the who, one sentence format to pinpoint what the issue is and to contain the issue so that it doesn't spill over into other issues. To write on the board to help contain it, keep people focused. And lastly, AWE, assign when it's needed and the expectation that we have for that to be completed. If you follow these 4 powerful tips, it'll help you make your issue solving so much more enjoyable, productive, and above all, it'll contain it. And you'll solve what you need to solve for that time period. You won't drift into more and more and more issues from a single issue. I hope you find this helpful. More about this next week. Have a great week.